I think what attracted Lisa and I to this talk that Rabbi Oshak is giving is that such a buzzword at the moment, meditation and finding your own inner peace and inner happiness, and everybody's downloading every app that they can find and giving it a try. But here, right close to us within our community, we have access to the real core meaning of meditation and finding happiness, and I think Rabbi's going to touch on that a little bit. So it's just become very topical at the moment, but within our religion it's been around all along. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you all, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I want to just start off by maybe sensitizing ourselves to how we're feeling right now. And I think generally when we come into a social environment, maybe you've been coming on quite a regular basis, there's some strange physiological things that may take place in the body. I want to bring your awareness, as well as my own awareness, to how are you sitting right now? How tense do you feel in your body? Do you feel that the muscles are maybe clenched together? Do you feel that your mouth might be a little bit hard? Do you feel your breath? Is it something that's soft? And these are sensitivities that we often lose fact of, generally because there's so much that we're thinking about, there's so much that we're worrying about, that we forget just to be. We forget just to relax, to resonate with life in a very simple way. There's so much that we complicate unnecessarily in our experiences, in our minds, in our emotions. I want to share with you an interesting analogy, which I'm sure you've heard before, but it can never be said enough. And it's an analogy of a monkey being caught. The analogy is as follows. The way that a monkey is caught is that there's a small opening that's made up in a rock on the side of a wall, just large enough for the monkey to place its little hand into this cleft, into this hole, to remove what's hidden inside. And what the monkey catchers place inside is they place a little bit of food inside. So now the monkey places its hand all the way in. Now the issue is that once it grabs the food, for it to re-emerge, to take its hand out, is impossible. Why? Because it's now got a fist. And when it's holding the food, that's the only way that it can hold it, with a fist. What happens is the monkey catchers jump out now, and the monkey gets frightened, and it's given two circumstances. Either let go of the food and run off free, or get caught. Now you can guess exactly what takes place. The monkey keeps its fist and is stuck. It's stuck in this hole and is caught. Now my question to every single one of us, is there something inside of us that the rabbis speak about? It says, V'im ani kan, hakol kan. If the I is here, everything is here. There is something inside of every single one of us that is keeping us trapped. That if we let go of, we will feel a sense of resonance with life. We'll feel a sense of oneness, a sense of complete calm. And what that is that we're holding on to too much is ourselves, is the I. And that fist that's in that cleft, that we're trying to struggle with all of the anxieties and all of the fears and all of the worries that life brings, we clench our fists even more and we get stuck in this rock. How do we get out? What do we do? When I was speaking one day with an individual, he said to me, one of the best pieces of advice he got from a great spiritual teacher. He was taught that he must take a piece of paper, and every night before he goes to sleep, he needs to write for himself the things he needs to do the next day. Make a checklist. What are the things I need to accomplish? 1, 2, 3. Make a list. A manageable list, something that he can actually attain. Then he needs to make a separate section on the list, and now he needs to write what things that he's going to do that are altruistic. How is he going to do something that's going to help someone else in life? What is he going to do that's outside of himself? Could be calling his mum, doing some acts of kindness, doing something that would bring a bit of love into the world. And this is the advice that he was sharing with me. He said it was life-changing. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce a third category to this list. And it's a category that a lot of people have forgotten. And because we've forgotten this category, we are constantly bombarded by an experience of life which is arduous, which is difficult, which is sapping us of our essence. And the third category on that list, and this is something I asked this individual, a successful businessman in the community. Where are you in between those numbers? You have a whole list of things to do, and you've even taken it to a spiritual level, things that you need to do that are altruistic. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not enough to live our lives on a list of things that we have to constantly tick off in order to exist, in order to feel like we have a place, in order to feel like we're living. Our existence is in between those things that we have to do. Our existence is found on the white of that page, in between all of the writing. The place of existence not premised on anything. You know, we are referred to as human beings. But a very sad reality has become of us because we've forgotten the second part of our name. Instead of always focusing on the human aspect, which is about the doing and about the constant engagement and what we have to achieve and what's next and what I have to do tomorrow and what I have to do now, where do I have to be? We forgot the second element, and that's the being. The ability to just be in life, to exist in life without having to do all the time. To discover the self beyond, not having to prove every moment of one's existence. I want to conclude with an interesting story that one of my spiritual teachers shared with me. And I think once we share this story, we'll end off with a short meditation just to bring us closer into a calibration within. So we know that one of the avenues of an army is to have a trained force. And apart from the human beings that are in the force, there's a unique unit called the K9 unit. And the individual that was teaching me, who was in the Israeli army, shared with me that once he was on base, and he was in a unit called the Duvduvan unit, which is a very elite unit in the army. And he was watching as the K9 handlers were training these dogs. And part of the training was to agitate the dog, to get the dog revved up. And he was watching as one of the handlers was getting this dog really, and the dog was growling, barking, was drooling with anger. And then suddenly, the dog just collapsed and died on the spot. Now we're talking about an expense. I mean, any dog dying is a sad thing. You know, we're upset when anything passes. But a unit in the K9 unit, this is where we're talking about a significant figure. And they went to investigate why this dog died. What happened? And they had found that the dog was so focused on the barking and the growling and the anger and the attack mode that it forgot to breathe. It forgot the most simple act of breathing. And ladies and gentlemen, in today's day and age, there's one simple friend that we've forgotten, and that is our breath. That is a state of being that's inside of us. A place of existence not premised on anything that you're doing. What I want to conclude together with you is just to bring ourselves into an awareness of that deep place inside of ourselves. And it's a place that transcends thoughts. So what I want you to do is just to bring your awareness into yourself, into your body. It's an experience that we generally don't engage with, to actually feel ourselves in our bodies. It's a strange experience. What am I meant to do inhabiting my body? But feel yourself sitting. Feel the vibrancy, the energy, the vitality that's in your body, pulsating through every single limb. Connect yourself to your breath. Understand that you can exist beyond your thoughts, beyond any activity. Feel a sense of overt presence, an attention to being totally within the experience of now. Not ransacked or kidnapped by any thoughts or any thinking or any emotions that are vying for your attention. Bring yourself deeply into the anchored self, into the beingness rather than the doingness. Allow yourself to retain that connection to the deeper self. And if you have your eyes closed, blink those eyes back open into the room. And take with you the awareness of self that is underlying every single experience that you may face in life. You are always there. The self doesn't need to be found outside. The self is always found inside. Having this tool, having this ability, having this connection is something that provides a vibrancy, provides a tool and an ability to be able to engage with life not as a fight, but to engage with life with a resonance, with a oneness, with a state of constantly feeling connected and seeing as a fountain flows from within. How can I be of blessing? How can I flow into the earth and connect into the world rather than constantly be at dissonance with my circumstances and my surroundings and with myself, most importantly? So it should be with blessing for everyone. And again, I want to thank Ortjet, Lisa and Brenna for this beautiful opportunity to be able to learn together. I don't know if I've gone over 15 minutes or below 15 minutes, but should be with blessing. I don't know if you ask questions now. You do ask questions. Okay, so if anyone hasn't fallen asleep yet, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer them, but I'm happy to engage. If not, there is a nice breakfast there that... Yes. Hi.
Is it just a question of following your breath, or should you say the word God or something like that?
It's an excellent question. So the issue that we face here is that God and spirituality is not a concept. And anytime we come and try and conceptualize our spiritual selves, we actually detach ourselves from that. And thus to come along and say the word God automatically creates an egoic infrastructure or concept that takes you out of yourself. God is inside of you. God is everywhere. Spirituality and the essence of this world is in every single facet. I prefer to refer to it as life, or as the Kabbalists refer to it as something called the Ein Sof. The Ein Sof means an expansiveness of endlessness. And that place is inside of you, which means what you need to do on a practical level is when you find yourself clenching your fist like that monkey and saying, why can't I wedge myself free? Maybe if I clench harder, pull harder, I'm going to be able to free myself. What you need to do is let go. And the letting go is experienced by letting go of your thoughts and letting go of your emotions that have a grasp on you and are strangling you to death. And what that means is entering into a space of the Ein Sof. The Ein Sof is a space of endlessness, of expansivity that's inside of us. A place beyond thought, a place of being. You can use breath to assist you. You can use the groundingness of your body, feeling the sensation of being totally present. Being within the environment that you are fully, totally experiencing that environment. Being within nature is one of the most vital experiences because nature is the most silent place of experience. So, to call it God, there are many Kabbalistic meditations that engage with certain frequencies, but one of the most simple things is to stop calling anything anything. The more calling we do in life, the less we come into ourselves. And that's the key, is to stop naming things, stop calling things, stop thinking things, and start being things a little bit more. And then you'll be able to tap into that essential part of the self. Yeah.
I was just going to say, as a response to what you were saying, it sounds like you've got to let go of the thoughts and even feeling the body, getting out of yourself. But at the same time, you're saying it reaches, you become yourself, because yourself then becomes everything.
Yes, so that's an important point, very important point. Meditation and mindfulness and the ability to engage with an esoteric or more spiritual framework of the self. By most people, it's viewed as an escape of self, of entering into another realm that can detach you from your troubles and worries. But essentially what we're understanding here is that this is a complete calibration of self, that you are totally present in your experience of life. The Kabbalists refer to it as bringing the world to come into this world, which means that you experience a total resonance and oneness with your circumstance. And the circumstance is not a bad one. It just is. It is what you are in now. It's life. So embrace it and absorb it, but don't escape it. It's not about escaping the self. It's about being the self. Yeah.
And also, one assumes that in that state you can't act, you can't live, because you're separating yourself from everything. You're sitting there and you're breathing, but the whole thing is to take that with you. Am I right?
100%.
And to act and do everything as close to that state as possible.
100%. So I think, just to conclude, if there are any other questions, I'm happy to take them. But within a business setting or within any relationship settings, and you can call me a businessman or not, I'm a rabbi, but one of my jobs is to very much engage with people and to create relationships with people. And part of a successful business engagement is that relationship that you have with people and how you strike that relationship. And this is a fundamental framework to understand how to deeply forge relationships in a real way. Because when a person is trying to relate to people in a cerebral way, in a conceptual way, almost in overly a pragmatic way, then you are two separate entities trying to connect, and it's not a real relationship. But when you put aside overthinking, when you connect to your inner essence, and when you sense the essence of another being, there's a deep relationship that's forged. A person isn't inundated with constant stress and anxiety of how am I going to perform, how am I going to act, how am I going to engage with this person, but rather you're essentially being there in the deepest way. That's a real relationship. And that's the essence of everything. That's why we're here in this world. to engage with one another, to unify with one another, to unify with this world. So that's a very valuable point. That this is not about sitting on a mountain and being detached or totally being secluded in the self, away from everyone else. It's actually about totally connecting with everyone around you. It's connecting with everyone around you in a real way, in a deeper way, in a oneness, yeah.